Hello and welcome to the Cornish Knitters podcast. My name's Jane. I live in Falmouth in Cornwall and I have a yarn shop based here as well. And this podcast is all about my knitting, a little bit about my life and a little bit about the shop too. So if you haven't watched me before, I hope you enjoy this podcast. If you've been with me for a while, welcome back, and I really hope you enjoy what I've got to say this time. So, as always, I'm not the most prolific of posters on this YouTube channel. I do like to come on when I've sort of got some things to show you in my knitting, but also just life has been, as always, pretty busy over the last few months. I think last time I was on, I talked to you about I was going off to do a big trade show in London with something called my sock club and also my Cornish Knitters flock, which is an online community which I might talk a little bit about later in terms of what we've been up to. So I went to Ali Pali, which is Alexandra Palace, a little sort of nickname that sort of seemed to stick to the knitting and stitching show, and it was a massive event. I think I mentioned on my last video, I really did feel a bit of overwhelm and quite a bit of anxiety about going. Before you go, you get this handbook about your do's and don'ts, and it was massive, which really sort of stressed me out. And a few days before I was due to go, I also became aware that I was going to be there on my own, which I thought that I was going to have some company just to be able to sort of have somebody cover when you went off to the toilet and stuff, but that wasn't going to happen. So yeah, it was with trepidation that I set off to London. My car packed. I mean, I really couldn't have put anything more in my car. It was literally packed to the gunnels. I just had a little gap so I could see out the back, safe, so I was safe. But my goodness, the car could not have got anything more in it. So off I set to London, which is quite away from where I live. It's about a 4.5 hour drive without stops. So I know in the States you do massive drives, but here in the UK that's quite a long drive. And then set up with the help of somebody did come in and help me set up. And one of the things I would have to say is that my goodness, you soon learn who the people are that you can rely on, those that will step up and help you, even, you know, they don't expect anything in return, and sometimes the most unexpected of people just jumped in to help. You know, they helped me pack boxes, they helped me get everything ready for the show, they helped me set up the show, they helped me take down from the show. Other people, you know, people from the flock and other people who sort of saying, I'll come to the show and give you a break so that you can at least go off to the toilet, or I'll bring you coffee or bring you something to eat, which it really reinforced and to me how wonderful some people are. And those are the people that, goodness me, we really need to nurture. And anybody that this applies to, I want to say a heartfelt thank you to, because without you, it could have been a disaster. Yeah, so the show was busy. I think there was something like 30,000 people came through the door. On my first day, which was the Thursday, it was the quieter day of the show anyway, and I stood there and I was sort of twiddling my thumbs. I've talked before, I really don't like not having anything to do with my hands. And opposite me were the lovely ladies from a company called The Modern Crafter who do punch needle. And they had their punch needle and they were talking to people about punch needle. And what I became aware of very quickly on that first day was that so many people who are either experienced knitters, well, shall I say they're experienced knitters, but had never made socks because they'd got some sort of misconception about how difficult they were, and really they were nervous about knitting in small circumferences and also a heel turn for a traditional sock design. So And then there were people that would love to knit socks, but had sort of were either a beginner knitter or had just never tried them, but were fairly new to their knitting as well. So it became obvious with all those conversations after day one that I really did have to have some knitting with me, and also for my own sanity, because it just gave me something to do. So hence the Ali Pally socks, as I called them, started, which are these. And I do have the other one somewhere, which is fully knitted. And I use this to be able to demonstrate magic loop, knitting in a small circumference. And also I did a couple of little clinics on how do you do a heel turn. And that enabled me to have so many conversations with people, which was amazing. I learnt so much at the show. It was so wonderful to see so many people, connect with people, hear what some of their fears were, hear what some of the people wanted from a business like ours. So yeah, it was an exhausting experience. I was there from 8:30 in the morning till 6 at night, standing, didn't have a chair. So for 4 days, and then on the 4th day, the Sunday, and Saturday and Sunday were manic. Literally, the doors opened at 9:30, and I can honestly say the first time I looked at my watch was probably about 3 o'clock on the afternoon, and I realised that I hadn't had time for a drink or anything to eat, hence I didn't eat the loo because I hadn't taken on any fluid, which was bad. I did have a water bottle at the back, but you're just constantly sort of surrounded by people, talking to people. And even the organisers who sort of were walking around sort of came to me later on in the show and sort of said, every time we came past you were just surrounded by people and you were teaching, which I suppose was my happy place. I'm not a natural seller, you know, I can't go out, and I would never make a salesperson like a traditional salesperson. But what I do like to do is help other people. So I suppose I sort of fell into my natural comfort zone, and I think people appreciated it. And so yeah, it was a great experience. I have booked again to go next year. I wouldn't be as nervous next year because I know the setup and you know what to do and how to prepare, but also I would approach things differently and yeah, do different things. So it was a massive learning curve. It was great to meet so many people, and it can't have been so bad because I booked to go next year, but I will take somebody with me next year and make sure that they are going to sort of turn up, rock up too. So that was my experience of Ali Pally and the knitting and stitching show. And then of course afterwards there was the 4.5 hour drive. I got home about, I think, 1 in the morning, and then the next day sorting all the stuff out from the car again. So it was just like when I'd finished. I should mention what I'm wearing. So this little shawl, it's a small shawl, which is, for me, is a perfect size. I am not a fan of massive, great shawls. I think it's potentially because I'm quite short in stature. Maybe I find that they completely overwhelm me. So this one here is the Waterlap Shawl by Perran Yarns, or Steph Thornton at Perran Yarns. This is her own pattern. Perran Yarns are a brand who are based in Cornwall, not far up the road from where we are, and we do stock their yarns. Steph does some beautiful colours, and she has some lovely patterns. I think she's just released a sock pattern as well, so do go and check out her Ravelry page. But the yarn I used was this one, which is called Tranquil, and it's 50% silk, 50% baby camel. So as you can imagine, this against your neck is super soft and drapey. It's warm without being over warm, and I just love this size. So I have got this skeined up, this one, which is, sorry, that colour was Morgul, name, got Cornish names really. This is Raspberry Coolie, which I think is a lovely name. So I have got this skeined up to make another one, because I think this is the sort of size shawl that I would really do like to wear without I can wear it indoors. And then we have this colour for a more neutral base, which is down to earth, but all on the same base. I have put some kits actually online in case anybody did want to have a go at knitting it, but yeah, give it a go. Super easy shawl to knit, and I do like, I don't know if you can see it against my cardigan maybe, the variegated sort of water lap edges, which I think is a nice finish to the shawl. So I've talked to you about Ali Pali. The week before Ali Pali, we'd had a retreat and we had a group of lovely ladies. So I went from a weekend of running a retreat straight into going off to Ali Pali on the Wednesday. So no time to breathe, which was full on, but in some ways was quite good too, because it really, because of the changes that happened just before I went off to Ali Pali, it meant that I didn't have too long to think about it and stress about it and worry about it, because I was just like, that's my sort of personality. I sort of like, I've just got to do this. I've invested too much energy, time, thought into this. I've just got to get on and do it. You know, I don't back down from those sorts of things. So we had the retreat, sorry, and again, a lovely group of ladies came together, hadn't met before. Really lovely friendships have been formed, you know, and again, I think we will hopefully see those people again and again and again, which will be lovely. And I have a retreat coming up, the last one of this year in November, end of November, and this group are a group of returning ladies who came November last year and all immediately booked to come back this year. So anybody that has signed up to our waiting list, we will be publishing our next year's retreats probably towards the end of November, beginning of December. And if you haven't signed up and you are interested, pop onto our website. What else have I been knitting? Oh, so, excuse me, I'm in my home office, so that's why the colour's a bit different behind me. Yeah, I've gone from bright yellow to bright green. So I finished my Winsome slipover by Fibre Workshop, sorry. I mentioned before, this is a 4-ply, so Fair Isle on the front, with like a tabard with buttons down the side and a plain back. I so enjoyed knitting this pattern. It was a lovely pattern to knit with, and more importantly, the yarn is stunning. So this is wool decanted. It takes 3 contrast colours, which is the pink, for me, the pink, darker pink, and the green. And then I use their natural base. But it was a super knit, super yarn, and the ladies, Lisa and Linda at the Wool Decanted, I just wanted to say a special shout out to them, because they were amazing support at Ali Pali. And without them, I wouldn't have packed up in anywhere. And my son Richard, we wouldn't have packed up in sort of the time that we did, because they lent me a trolley, they gave me loads of advice, and they were just amazing. So shout out to the ladies from Wool Decanted. But their yarn is beautiful. I do love it, and I am going to be knitting another, which I mentioned in my last video, and for the life of me, I can't remember what it is, another vest in the near future in their yarns, but with a navy background. So that is one thing I've managed to finish, and this. A lot of the other stuff that I've been knitting, again, unfortunately, is stuff that either is for the shop in terms of samples, or it's for our advents, which are about to, our advent boxes are about to go out, and anybody that has purchased them, they're all sold out, by the way, anybody that has purchased them, they will get a pattern each week to work on with the yarn if they want to. So I've been busy knitting up the samples for that, and also Sock Club, because we have our November sock box just about to go out, so that it's ready for people at the end of November, and it's a wonderful Christmas sock, but it's taking quite a bit of work. So I've been busy knitting on those. So always got a pair of socks on the go, but my Ali Pali socks, which are just very basic. Let me see if I've got the other one here. As I say, I'm sort of in my office space, so it's not my normal space. No, I can't see it. But I did on it, because I was working at the show and was talking and knitting at the same time. I didn't do a heel flap and gusset on that particular one. I just did a shadow wrap heel, which I knew was going to be easy for me to do whilst I was still talking to people. So that's a nice sort of palette cleanser and keeps me sort of, when I just need to pick up something. Oh, the dog's barking. Probably another dog walking past the front window. I mentioned last time as well, irony really, I talked about family, and I know so many of you responded about how, you know, when your children, sorry about the dog, when your children come home. Okay, I'm back. It was actually the window cleaner. What a time to pick to come. And as you can hear, the dog doesn't like the window cleaner. So yes, he's quiet now. The window cleaner's finished, he's gone, he's paid and left. So hopefully Bailey will go back to sleep, his normal daily routine. I was talking about family, and so many of you mentioned, you know, how spending time with your grown-up children was so important to you, and sort of echoed my thoughts about how lovely it is just occasionally to spend time just as a family unit again. So after the last video, unfortunately, a very, very close relative fell very ill, and I got to see my children again, but not under such good circumstances as the previous time. So they came to visit to say their goodbyes, and also that unfortunately that person passed away. So we had a significant bereavement in the family, and they've subsequently come home for the funeral, which was a few days after Ali Pali. So I had a bereavement, followed by the retreat, followed by Ali Pali, followed by a funeral. So it's been a full-on few weeks, and still processing it probably. I did get to see my children again, and but for different reasons, which was, it was still lovely to spend time with them and celebrate somebody's life who was very dear to all of us, but also, you know, it was tinged with the reason that they'd come home. But it was lovely to see both of them, and I was super proud of both of my children for how they responded as well. So yeah. What am I going to talk about? Let's go on to more positive things. What else am I going to talk about? What else did I have? The other things that I'm working on is, it's winter time, and I've spoken before about how bad I am about WiPs, you know, my works in progress, and not having several of them. So as I sort of committed to on here a few podcasts ago, I am going to be making sure I finish works in progress. So I have a few. So now it's winter time, I could pick up the winter projects again, and I just need to check. It's the Polina pullover that I had been working on, which was by Teti Lutzak. I know a number of you have knitted this, and I knitted most of it up until the summer, and I still have just one arm left to do. So this one arm I need to get finished. So I bought it out of its hiding place, because I do think it's a lovely jumper, and I do think, or sweater, it will be really nice to wear. It's going to be super warm because it's made of, I think the pattern called for either a thick 4-ply or a sport weight. So I've used Cumbria fingering by the Fibre Company. This is Windermere, and this is Blencarthur, I think the colours are. So fairly sort of traditional, sort of nothing too wacky. It's not my style really. But I did the collar that I quite liked this alternative collar, which has got this sort of ruffle at the top. I need to sew in, obviously, a few ends, but I think I've been pretty good at sewing in so far. Oh no. I thought I was patting myself on the back and thinking in, but I haven't. Look, there's still sort of loads of ends still to be dealt with. Maybe I need to do that next as well. I don't always like to leave it right to the end to do my ends. I do like to usually do them as I go. So yes, the Polina pullover has come out of hiding to be completed, as has my crochet blanket, because the weather is getting colder. So my crochet blanket, which is it is, look at my notes, it's the Cozy Comfort Blanket by Shannon Long of Blue Fern Yarns. And I had a subscription with Shannon at Blue Fern Yarns last year, where I had her, she did little packs of minis in colour themes for each month. So I had it for a whole year, and I had the double knit version. And this blanket I've held together with just a plain grey alpaca double knit yarn to sort of give it some heft. And I'm working through my months. So I started with January down here. I think the first 5 colours are January, and then February, and I'm up to, I think I finished August, and I need to restart this. So this is lovely to work on in the winter months, because here in the UK our fuel prices are really high, and we had some support with energy prices, but that's sort of gone. So, you know, if I can get away without turning the heating on, I will, and this is a perfect way to do it. I can have this on my lap, and I do enjoy a bit of crochet as an alternative. As you can see, it's quite a substantial blanket. I keep it in a basket like this, and it's by my sofa, and when I want to and fancy a bit of crochet, I just pick it up and do it. Oh, I found my, buried underneath that basket was my other Ali, it's not blocked or anything, my other Ali Pally sock, which, as I said, I did a little shadow wrap heel on, just because it was quick and easy. I've got quite small feet, if anybody's sort of looking at it, I think it's quite small. The yarn I used is a yarn by Camels Yarn, which is a one that she dyes exclusively for the shop, which is it's called Falmouth Blue, and I think we've just sold out of it, but we're always getting it back in stock. So if you like it, have a look for when it, or go on and sort of register that you'd like to be notified when it's back in stock. So my last work in progress that I'm working on is the Snowflake vest, which is a buttoned up vest by Thea Coleman. And you can see all my pattern repeat stitch markers here, along here, and I'm working on, let me get this right, the right front. So it's V-neck, just here. So it's a V-neck. It's sort of an unstructured cable design. So the V comes about there, and I've got the buttons already. So I haven't got a lot to do, to be honest. I've got the two, finish off this side and then the other side and then the back, and I think I've just got to put on the armholes, and that's it, because the sort of edging ribbing is done as you go along. So I can't say I'm particularly enjoying this one. So this one is one I sort of like have to psych myself up to pick up. I don't know why. I was going great guns on it, and then I don't know, I sort of fell out of love with it a little bit. I don't know if you do that too, but I will persevere and get it finished, so that I can get it out of my work in progress basket, because there's lots more waiting in line to be done there, and I'm not going to cast on anything else for me or any big projects until I've done some of those works in progress. That being said, Christmas, I do like to promise myself that I will knit something just purely for me, probably in a yarn that we don't have in the shop, because I'm always obviously having to knit sort of showcase the yarns, and we have a beautiful selection. But there are, you know, we focus on mainly British yarns in the shop, and there are some lovely yarns from overseas that I like to knit with too, but I just do not get the time. So I have a couple of projects that I'm thinking of, which I might share with you next time, but my Christmas cast on is my present to me. And I like to sort of have something to look forward to that I can just make, that's mine, that I really like, and I don't have to worry about whether it's sort of something that's going to go in as a sample to the shop, so I can knit my size and, you know, and adjust it to fit and suit me and my body, because as you know, I often mention that being a postmenopausal woman, my body's changed, so sometimes with patterns I do like to put in, say, bust darts, or put in some extra short rows to make it a bit sort of different or longer in different places, and to level up the seams. So I think that is everything from me. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my ramble. Right at the end, I've just got a little clip of, we took Bailey the dog, our boxer dog, up to a place called Routor, which is the highest point in Cornwall on Bodmin Moor. It was a lovely walk. It was a windy, bright, sunny day, and Miles and I took Bailey out for a little walk, a trump up to the top of the hill and back down again. And I just thought I'd share my little clip with you. So I hope you enjoy it. Do remember to like and subscribe, and please comment. I hope you know that I always read your comments, and where I can I always try and respond, because I appreciate people taking the time and effort to reach out and comment to me. So do comment, and yeah, really looking forward to catching up with you again soon. Have a great few days. Bye.